I'm thrilled to share some fascinating tales with you today from the wonderful community on Reddit, where people come together to share their stories of everyday experiences gone awry. Get ready to laugh, cringe, and maybe even nod your head in recognition as we dive into the world of misunderstandings, misadventures, and unexpected surprises. Am I the butthole for not giving my niece the porcelain doll my mother left for her? My niece Jay, 10 female, was the only granddaughter when my mother died in 2020. When she died, she wanted my niece to have her porcelain doll collection, which had around 6 dolls. These porcelain dolls were around when I was a child, and I had memories of getting in trouble for playing with them. They were absolutely beautiful. Well, when my mother died, I, 29 female, decided to keep one doll. I know it wasn't left to me, but I felt like they meant more to me than they could to my niece. I contemplated giving it back to her when she was old enough to appreciate it. We're from Louisiana, and Hurricane Laura hit when we evacuated. I took the doll with me because I knew it was sentimental and irreplaceable. My niece, however, let all of the remaining 5 dolls get ruined in hurricane because she let them in the house where it got ruined. My twin sister, Jay's mom, thinks that it's only fair that I give Jay the doll I kept safe because after all it was left for her. My argument is that if I would have gave her the doll, it would have gotten ruined with the other ones because she didn't care enough about them to take them with her. Fast forward, we are now in 2025, and I have a daughter of my own. I 100% believe if my mom would have known she was going to have another granddaughter, she would have left a doll to her. Am I the butthole? Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. You're the butthole for a few reasons. 1. It is not, nor was it ever your doll. It was always your niece's doll. Your mother very specifically said they were all to go to your niece. If you wanted one, you should have told your mother this before she died, and asked if you could have one. 2. Your niece didn't leave the doll during a hurricane evacuation because she didn't give a crap about the dolls. They were left because as a minor young child, she was relying on her parents to get out in an incredibly scary situation. Wrapping up a bunch of dolls, no matter how sentimental the priority for any of them, was not and has nothing to do with any of this. 3. It doesn't matter how sure you are about how your mom would feel now, since there is another granddaughter. You could be 100% imprint sure. It doesn't matter because your mom is dead and left zero thoughts about that. You went against your mother's wishes and pretty much stole a doll from a child. You're the butthole for doing that. And you are an even bigger, for refusing to give it back. Hilarious expecting a 10-year-old child to think about some porcelain dolls when she's being evacuated to escape a hurricane. It's worse than that. Hurricane Laura was in 2020, when the child was 6. She expected a 6-year-old to wrap and carry out 5 China dolls in the middle of a hurricane evacuation. Editing to add the Wikipedia page for Hurricane Laura, .tm, wikipedia.org wiki Hurricane Laura, as a couple of people are blaming the kid and the kid's mom for not taking care of the dolls. 81 people died in Hurricane Laura. Also, OP took 1 doll, which was probably easier to pack up than 5 dolls, which we have no idea how big they might have been, or where they were stored. I am sure the family lost a lot more than just those 5 dolls that had great sentimental value. I probably have 2 dolls I would try to take with me, but there is only me to look after. I am not trying to sort out a family that probably contains a small frightened child trying to understand all the chaos around them. OP is an twice over. Once for keeping the doll, and then for blaming a child for something she couldn't prevent. The doll should go to child it was originally meant for. 1 doll and assuming her stuff in 1 car. Imagine trying to pack up enough stuff for a family into 1, maybe 2 cars. Agreed. Also, hindsight is 2020. At the time of evacuation, the family doesn't know what they need to survive. How many clothes will they need? Do they have all their documents? What can they do with their pets and pet food? Should they bring water and food? How will they get their medication or first aid medication, etc.? It's easy to critique someone's priorities when you're not actually in the rushed evacuation. Yeah. When I was moving apartments alone, I was able to fit all my belongings aside from furniture in a single car, SUV, load. When you have a full family in the car, probably fits a third of what I could otherwise. And that space has to fit an entire household stuff, rather than one person's. It's ridiculous to expect a family to be able to bring as many non-essentials as a single person can during evacuations. She had to pack one doll and no children. Her sister had to pack up a whole family. Getting my babies out of an oncoming hurricane would be my priority too. Up only had the luxury of fixating on the doll because she had no children to care, worry, or stress about. She's a massive, When I was 20, I tried packing a porcelain vase as I was moving. It did not make it to the bus before I heard the shattered pieces. Had the parents given her the task, OP would be talking about how she broke them by taking them on a trip. I am sorry about your vase. I have packed to move several times. There is always a chance, no matter how well you wrap things, that they are not going to survive. I do agree, OP was looking for a reason that she shouldn't hand over the doll the rightful owner. And now for the next story. Am I the butthole if I prioritize early career over marriage? I, 24 female, moved away to pursue a graduate degree, but with this had to leave behind my fiancé for the time that I complete this degree, 3 years. I feel bad because he has a good career there and can't afford to move where I am because it's in a small town with little to no job market. It's only an hour and a half or so of a flight to get to where I am from where he is, but he says it's really longer than that. 6 HRS, when you take into account the whole process of going to airport and back, and it's taking a toll on him, traveling twice a month or so. He also has a bad fear of flying. When we first were dating, he acknowledged to me he couldn't do long distance, but we are engaged now, and it's working out, but he doesn't seem to be taking it the best way. Just lonely and feeling down being apart. I knew this would happen, but I'm trying to help by paying for flights, being communicative even though busy school, etc. I told him I'd do everything I can to get an internship back where he is this summer, but I received a dream internship that's ever further than we are right now, 3 HR's flight. So this summer, I won't be able to be with him and will be alone doing my internship where I'm at. He said, hell, follow me, wherever I end up getting a job after school. But part of me feels bad, because he has a good developing career in the city that he is at. I really am going to try to get a job back where his is currently, but I'm not sure if that can be a possibility just the way the job market goes. He thinks very far ahead and has communicated it's fine to move to where I think I might end up with the jobs I'm looking at, and where my internship is. But he's concerned, cause we have no family there, and in the 5-year range when we have kids, no one from our families would be nearby to help. Is illogical thinking this far in advance? I appreciate it, but sometimes I feel like he can't just be happy for me, or isn't even though he says he is. Overall, just wondering, am I the butthole for prioritizing my career right now, especially since he previously communicated to me long distance is really hard for him. And now for the next story. Am I the butthole for getting fully naked in a public changing room? I'm a college student who recently took up track as a hobby. I was on the swim team all throughout high school, but aside from that, haven't done any organized sports before. After practice, most of the guys take a shower before heading to classes. I was having a chat with a couple of the other guys on the team, and getting changed at the same time. When I pulled down my pants, one of the guys just said, "WTF dude," in a really shocked tone. I asked what the matter was. He said to go find a stall if I wanted to do that, or don't bother changing underwear. Now, I sweat like crazy, so obviously wanted to change underwear. But the stalls were being occupied, and I didn't think it was expected to wait. It's a changing room. In my experience, people change. It's not that big of a deal. We all shower after swim practice and nobody cares in the slightest. I'm comfortable in my own body and didn't think it was a big deal, but obviously don't want to make others uncomfortable either. Am I the butthole? Now let's check out some of the comments on this post. Not the butthole, it's normal to change clothes fully in a changing room. I believe this awkwardness around nudity is something that we learn by culturally associating nudity with sex almost exclusively. In many countries, nudity is associated with times when it's necessary or appropriate to be nude. Locker rooms are one instance, saunas, massages, surgeries, and sex. We shouldn't assume nudity is only useful or appropriate for sex. We should expand our worldview to accepting it whenever it's most useful and efficient, such as locker rooms where changing clothes is the whole point. Nakedness is often seen, but never noticed, is the proper attitude. And yet when I'm naked during my morning meetings, suddenly everyone notices. Everyone's a hypocrite. My head. My head. Shaking my head. My head. Which head are you shaking? I think that's known as the helicopter. Unless it's small, in which case it's the light switch. As long as he wasn't sitting with your crotch at eye level, he can just not look. This, as long as OP didn't have crotch or ass right in the other's face. Then not the butthole. Agreed. I'd say a lot of my life, I'd be anxious in change rooms like this. After becoming a father to 2 boys, things changed. I just stopped caring about these things. It's just a body. We all have one. We all have our own bits. No big deal. I'd say the key is to stop giving a f about this stuff and just be. And now for the next story. Am I the butthole? Awkward ex-friendships that involve your kids. Long story short here. I was good friends with a good guy from college. Lost touch for years then. My family ended up moving into the same neighborhood as him recently. We're both in our late 30s. We reconnected when we moved in the area, and both families got together, and I thought we all had a good time. I texted my buddy and invite him over for beers, watch the game, grill out, etc. I was always met with an excuse as to why he couldn't. I ended up just giving up and saying he could contact me if he wanted to hang out. I can read a room. Well, fast forward 2 years and nothing. We haven't spoken. Turns out his wife seems to like my wife and wants our kids to hang out since they are around the same age. She has made reference that while she and her husband, don't really care for me, they would love for kids to be friends. My wife thinks nothing is wrong with our kids being friends and just acting like nothing is wrong. I disagree. Fuck this family. If it made out to be some leper, they don't want anything to do with him. My kids ain't playing with your kid. I also want my wife to defend me when his wife calls up asking our kids to play. My wife has said she wants to be cordial and not burn any more bridge. It feels like she doesn't have my back. Like and subscribe for more awesome daily Reddit content. And don't forget to hit the bell to get notified when I upload new videos.